Hi, I'm Derek Mountfield and you're watching Toffee TV.
Welcome to Toffee TV. We're here to talk about the game on Saturday. Unfortunately, 3-0 defeat to Manchester United. This is the final word. We're very happy to say we're joined by Derek Mountfield. He's in the studio. And before anyone starts getting morbid, we're going to be talking about Howard Kendall in a separate video. Degs is going to be giving us his best memories. We're not all going to we're going to have happy times, but this one is going to be miserable because we're going to be talking about Everton getting beat by Manchester United. This is going to be the miserable one. The Howard Kendall one's going to be hilarious.
That'll be amazing.
Yeah, this one's going to be the miserable one. 3-0 defeat. Degs, I didn't see this coming. I didn't know. We were very confident last week. Maybe overly confident.
Probably. No, you two, yeah.
We've been ripped to bits by Manx in the last 2 days.
To be honest, if you look the build of the game, I've been immensely surprised how United have done this season. With all the players they got rid of, and I thought they're not bringing in the best of players, but he's done something in that club that has them playing confidently and playing with belief. And I thought it'd be a pretty tight game Saturday. I thought, it might be a low defeat or a score draw, but for the first 20 minutes, as poor as United were against Arsenal, and United were good against them for that first, it was the same on Saturday. We were poor and they took us to the cleaners. And the start they had, it's very, very hard to cover from that start, especially when you're 2-0 up away from home. United get confidence, we're struggling for that belief again. I noticed that, but you can feel it filtering from the terraces and it comes onto the pitch and you see that nervousness kicking in. I just think the start they had was immense, but saying that, you mentioned Howard, that might have had something to do with it. You know, there was so much around the build-up to the game. What our lads might have taken their eye off the ball a little bit. But you can't fight United. Their start was immense for the first 20 minutes. And 2-0 up, game, set and match. And they can just cruise for the last 20, 17 minutes or so. But I said it's going to be hard because I said United are really, really surprised how well they've done. And I think they're going to be thereabouts this season for that title.
We were talking last week when we were saying that, they didn't seem to play well in games, but they ground games out. Well, in this game, they played well. They played very well, Baz. And I just thought the way they set up, the way they had Schweinsteiger and the way they had Schneider in the middle stopped us from breaking, and the way they pushed on our fullbacks with pace meant we couldn't really go anywhere, the way we like to play.
Yeah, we started really, really slow. Go back to the Chelsea game when we, our only home win this season. We were fantastic. The kick-off, right from the kick-off, we were in their faces. We were swarming all over them, didn't give them a minute. Liverpool and United, we've come out for that first half an hour and everything's slow it down, let them, and we let players like Schweinsteiger play because we weren't swarming all over them. And I think, to be honest with you, we done the team last week what we hoped it would be, and I think the manager got it wrong. I think Stephen Naismith can get you important goals. He'll score your goals and he gets in people's faces and everything, but he's better centrally. He's wasted on that left hand side. He's not a threat to their fullback. He's not a threat to anybody. He doesn't get up and down quick enough. So we're unbalanced straight away. And we just stood off them, and you let good players play. They're going to pull you to bits.
They did. I said they bought Schweinsteiger as a world-class footballer. Yeah. I think Schneiderlin's very, really impressed with Southampton. He's going to get better and better. Herrera's a little jack-in-the-box in and out of people. And I just think the way you're saying the setup, sometimes the manager sets his team up, and thinks he's got it right, but it's a good sign of a manager when he realises he's got it wrong and he can change it quickly. Yeah. And I went to the Liverpool-Villa game the other week to watch Villa for the local radio. Liverpool changed their formation and Villa didn't know what to do. Nice. And for 60, 70 minutes it was the same. And I'm thinking, you've got to change it, you've got to see something, and a manager's got to be able to do that quicker. Yeah. And I think sometimes managers say, I've got to give him time, give him time. No, if it's not working, do it straight away.
It shouldn't take half time, should it? No, really? It shouldn't. That's like Mourinho's proved that you can do it whenever. And that early on, I thought Martial was brilliant the way they used him. They pushed him on Coleman. Coleman was rubbish. It was just honestly, he was rubbish.
I was surprised when I saw Coleman and Stones back in the side. No disrespect to the lad, but the back four haven't done bad in recent weeks.
They look cold. Coleman looked particularly cold.
Especially Stones has come in after 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks out. You might need a game or two. Yeah. I just think in that sort of environment, it might have been better just to leave Funes Morris in and Browning in and just say, right, you two on the bench. If it's not working, then I can put you on. But then people say, well, you play your stronger side first. But saying that, they've both been out for a long length of time.
The problem is, Degs, nowadays we don't have that reserve team thing, so we don't know when. But we don't know when players are ready.
We haven't got Richards and Harper who came
fair enough. Okay, fair enough.
But
So-
I think you grew up you were coming through in that era when you had to fight to get your place back. And
yeah.
I think I understand, because I looked and thought Stones has got to come back in. Funes Mori done great against
I think he's
Liverpool.
done very well.
But then, and I'm thinking, yeah, but Stones gets us playing. But then again, you're looking at it going, actually, it's wrong, because Browning's done ever so well at right back, And as the game played out, Browning probably would have been better against Martial, because Tyres is not great on the ball. He just wants to defend.
They went for Coleman's weaknesses. It was clear they went for his weaknesses.
They've identified that, and knowing he's been out for 4 weeks, he's had one game for Republic of Ireland, and then Stones has been out. They've realised, we'll go for him, and maybe sometimes the manager makes the change because that's my first 11, that's my back four, and maybe he should have said, no, I'll leave it.
It looks good on paper, doesn't it? It looks intimidating. That's your best 11.
Well, what about just bringing one of them in? What about, say, either leave Murray in and put Coleman back in, or leaving Browning where he wasn't having Stones?
Again, that's the question. I'm sure that Roberto and his staff have been sitting analysing this since Saturday, thinking, should we have done this? Should we have done that? And sometimes, when we played in the 80s, there wasn't the 7 substitutes. You could have 3 of them. There was the 1 sub. So you knew if you're in that 15, it was a 14, 15-man squad, 3 of you were up in the stands with a jacket on, keeping warm. And the one he chose for the bench could do 2 or 3 jobs, i.e. Alan Harper, Kevin Richard. They could come on and play right back, left back, centre mid, right wing. And that was the beauty of having the 1 sub. But now when you've got 6 or 7, sometimes you could be spoiled and you don't know which player to put on to change the game. You don't, well, should have put him on to take him off, or what about him to go there? And it sometimes there's too many options, and it sort of blinkers the vision a little bit and narrows the focus.
But also, like going back to saying there about the reserves, now it's all computer based. Like they'll get a lad in training for a week. They'll put like one of those bra tops on him and see how far he can run. And then
you do the big size, do you?
Yeah, let's not go there. But they'll look at all the stats and go, he's ready to play. But in the old days, it was a reserve team game, or now an under-21s game, and they go, yeah, he's up to speed. But now they look at stats, and I don't always think that works. It's just because you see them come in, and they on paper they're fit, but Coleman wasn't fit.
I dread to see my stats.
But they just didn't look fit to me.
It's so hard. When we were coming back in the old days, there was always a reserve side.
Not that old days.
Feels like it. and I remember quite often, going to Grimsby Town one night, coming back from Grimsby with Kevin Sheedy and Pat Vandenau. Got on the team bus to Grimsby and played the game. And then John Klink had to come over in his car. And me, the 3 lads, John and Mick Lyons, jumped in the car after the game, and we drove from Grimsby to London to go to the hotel for the QPR game the following night. And I was sub. So I played on a Tuesday night at Grimsby and driven down, got the hotel at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and then played or come sub on the following night. You don't see that now. No. The reserve sides have gone. You can now so many overage in the under-21s, but that was part of the learning curve for these kids. These young kids are like the Brownings that could love playing against some of the old-fashioned players who are not in the first team but trying to back in, and they're kicking lumps out of people. And that's what's gone wrong now. The 21s is great, but I think you need the reserve league back just to get that definitely. Balance and that regular format for the youngsters against more experienced older players.
That's what it is, because you've got that the gap comes, and we sat with
the gap's massive now.
And he talks about from 20, but that age group.
Well, it's why he wants the B team, isn't it?
But that's why Joe Rowe's there now.
Yeah,
looking at the kids, they're sending the kids out to other clubs now, and Joe's monitoring them all.
Yeah.
They should be playing in a reserve league against other reserve teams on the Premier League, and that's a better learning curve sometimes than having to go and play in a lower league club.
Yeah,
definitely. We were just awful, weren't we? I mean, let's talk about the goals. The first goal, it's a set piece again. Now, yeah, do you know what I mean?
Don't bring me to set
someone
pieces.
who used to do it at both ends, and we can't defend set pieces. Now, people are going to think I'm being deliberate, but I think it all starts with the goalie. I think that's where it comes from. I might be wrong, but I think it all comes from the goalie doesn't take crosses. And I said this last week to you, Baz. If a goalie doesn't take crosses, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong now, but if you're a centre back or any defender and you've got to head the ball from your 6-yard line, it doesn't go very far, does it really? Unless you're a really good header of the ball.
Me.
But it would be you. It doesn't end up
in the net.
In the goal.
But it's still, you still find yourself. We find ourselves under pressure still.
I think if when I go back to when I was playing, my job was to defend, and I would put my head, my body on the line every time. And if Neville came and shouted for it, but I thought I could head it, I'd head it. And I might take Neville's punch in the back of the head. But I think that if we are too deep, there's no space for the keeper to come. And we need to get ourselves up 5 or 6 yards further up and give the keeper a bit more space. You look at Neville's when we played. Neville pushed us out, kept us away from him. That box is his domain. He wants that box for himself.
It's definitely not how
you know, and you've got to get your players out there and you control your box. And that's what Tim's not doing.
Yeah.
He's not controlling his box. That's his area. He's got to get people away from him so he can come and attack on a punch. Look at the best keepers. They always push the back four away from him. And sometimes we get too deep. That's because the formation we play now. The 2 centre midfield players come and drop deep. So that pushes the back four a bit further. And before you know it, you're on top of the keeper. Yeah. And then Tim say, get off, get out, and push them up. And that's what Tim's not doing for me.
Because we were talking about the goal which conceded against Liverpool, which was, and I was saying to Ted, I mean, Neville Southall, you know, imagine standard, he never rooted to his line. If he'd have seen Danny Ings, he'd have knocked Danny Ings into a ball next Tuesday. And our keeper just stands on the line, and then you're never going to make that save.
Again, going back to the older, we never sort of man-mark players like that. We weren't looking and grabbing players. We had an area, and we had to attack that space. So imagine there was a space like that in front of me. That was my area to attack. And you don't see players attacking the ball. They're too busy fighting.
I don't know what we play though. I don't know whether we play man for man or zonal. I don't know. I can't see because. But on the goal itself, I mean, Naismith wins the header, and then Rooney.
The first header was a poor one.
Exactly, and then Rooney pushes him in the back.
But no disrespect, but if you're putting a little fella in that zone, I'd rather have Gareth Barry in that zone who's got a bit more height who can come and meet it. We always like to put one player in front of the cross, so he's got to try and get it over the first man.
Carsley was
which we don't do at that. We don't beat the man well enough on our own crosses. But that needs a bigger man in there than Steve. I know Stephen's very good in the air, but maybe a little taller man, make it a bit higher. But he's got to get a better header on it. Once head's up in the air,
we just don't seem to be able to clear.
But then it's the reaction to the second ball. Who was ready to react for that miss header? Oh, Stephen's got it. It's going to go. Oh no, it's not. And you're reacting too late. There's 2 phrases. There's proactive and reactive players. Are we too much reactive? We are
very much reactive.
We're not proactive in our box. We're more reactive, and that means we're reacting to the knockdowns, and we're not sort of expecting it to go there. And maybe we've got to work on that a bit more as the club. Let's be more proactive. Let's expect it to be there, and not react when it does get there. But saying that, it was still a good finish. But how's he got that much space?
And how's he got past Howard?
I was a bit. I mean, I don't want to. Because I'll point the blame firmly at him for the third goal, so I don't want to hammer him on
No, do both. Honestly,
but the first goal for me, he dives the wrong way. He dives. If you look at the way the ball goes,
but a lot of keepers are doing that.
It's weird.
They're trying to make I think they're trying to make the forwards' mind up for him.
Well, we've said this before. We said it on the Man City game. It's almost like because he's older now and his reactions are slowing down. It's almost like he is going where he thinks it's going to be. Where you look at De Gea or you look at any young goalie, they react after because the reactions are so fast. But Howard doesn't do that. He seems to. Yeah, you're right. The one against Man City was worse. He thinks it's going to be kicked across him because why would he shoot from there? And he does. He shoots and he gets made to look ridiculous.
He's getting red in the face. Look at him.
I'm always red in the face. That's the general. I'm just thinking how many viewers from America we're losing as we talk about Tim Howard.
It's one of them. You know, every player comes to a stage. I had it in my career where you don't start doing things like you were the year before. Your instincts do slow down. Your body slows down, and you can sense it yourself. I sensed it when I was getting to the age of 36, 37. Yeah, I was struggling. I wasn't recovering well from games, and I knew. I then relied on my experience to put me in positions where I knew the ball was going to go. Then I read the game better. But players understand that they're coming and they're having a bad spell. But if the manager has to see it as well, you know, I was very surprised when he was out, Howard, over Christmas period, and Roy Wills that I did a reasonable job. Our game wasn't bad. He made some good saves, some clean sheets, got the tempo of the game going a bit more. And then Tim came back in and the tempo went again. I think the way Rubles sometimes just launched it quickly. The best example is Joe Hart. Boom, wallop. They scored 2 goals at the weekend.
It's the same thing.
Sees it early.
But he gets it, Tim, and he's been told, slow it, it's got to be gone to the full-backs or the centre-backs. Do it quick sometimes. Get it up there.
You've got to have your instinct yourself as a player.
You've got to be an instinctive player. We are reactive players. We're not
what you just said is perfect. I mean, I'm not having a go with Tim Howard. I'm having a go with the manager. I've always said it's not about Tim Howard, it's about the manager. He said he was going to buy a new goalkeeper and then said he wasn't going to go buy no new goalkeeper when it's clear that we need a new goalkeeper. Whether it's to go in straight away or whether it's to put pressure on Tim Howard, we need a new goalkeeper for all those reasons. And the reason I pick on Howard more than many other players, Howard's only got one job, and that's to save the ball effectively. You know, Phil Jagielka, when he makes the mistake for the third, he's got loads of different things. It was awful. But Howard's got one job to do, and that's to save the ball.
I think,
yeah,
just on the first goal for me, a goalkeeper, I don't mind if he's touched sight to his post.
What's your shoulder?
Yeah. And he's holding the post. If he gets beaten into the far corner, that doesn't bother me as much because I think, well, he's
bothered me
that.
in '85 when Neville did it at Wembley.
Well, yeah, but that it bothered me as well. But that got whipped round him. But this one, he's kind of dives that way, and you're thinking, you're just showing him that as a forward. That's great when a goalie lies down. It just makes your mind up for you.
The best keep that now is De Gea.
Yeah.
He stands big.
That's
Courtois the same.
Yeah.
They stand big and they make so many saves with the feet.
they win games.
Because they stand big.
Yeah.
But Tim goes down a bit too early at times and he causes the ball, just dink it over, goal. But sometimes you look at the best keepers, the younger keepers, and I said De Gea, Courtois, Joe Hart, they stand up.
Yeah.
They stand up. They how they do it, I don't know. The legs get in some really weird positions, but they stand up tall and they make the striker beat the keeper.
Yeah.
Instead of the keeper making it easy for the striker.
When someone takes a shot against Tim Howard now, I think it's a goal all the time. I very rarely expect him to save things.
That's
how sad it's become.
That's what when Rooney ran through for the third, I knew it was a goal. The minute he got ahead of him, I thought it's a goal because he won't say it. And I just don't expect
the second goal.
We are being morbid now, aren't we?
No, well, it's just
It's deconstruction.
The second goal is
therapy.
There's loads wrong with the second goal.
Loads.
First of all, we're 1-0 down. We've just conceded a goal, so you're thinking like, okay, get your heads, stay in the game. We're not playing well at this stage. They're dictating. Stay in the game. Coleman doesn't have to go and try and pinch the ball. He's never going to win that ball in a million years, and there's no reason for him to. Let Martial take it, get in behind him, and he dives in. And a big gap opens up behind him then, and then Rocco goes on. And John Stones, I criticised John Stones at Reading for doing exactly the same thing as what he done at the weekend. He's coming out of his area when he doesn't need to, and he goes charging out. McCarthy's got it covered. I mean, you were a centre half, so you're running. Your right back's dived in. Gary Stevens is better than Coleman anyway, but he's dived in. Your midfielder's tracking, so are you going to leave your area and go and try?
In the new format, you've got the holding midfield player, but in my format, it wasn't. It was a 4-4-2.
Yeah.
So if Gary got beat, I'd go out there and try and hold him up. Then Rats would come in, Pat would come in.
Yeah.
And then hopefully Sheeds took him behind where Pat was.
Sheedy never got back that far.
But in those days at the 4-4-2, my job was if Gary got beat, I'd go out there and cover him. But with the holding midfield play, if John goes out, someone sits in straight away. That's what that meant to happen.
Yeah.
If I can't get there and Stonesy comes out, I've got to come back in here.
Right.
But once John leaves that area to go, it leaves Phil a little bit exposed. If someone's in there and he's marking, he's got, do I go there, do I go here? So if he goes there, Galloway's got to come in here, and that's what never happened.
Yeah.
No.
As they go across, we come across together and we fill the gaps.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen on Saturday.
So effectively, John Stones has gone where he shouldn't, and everyone else in your day would have gone with him.
Yeah,
but because
you can't blame John Stones because with the format, with the two holding midfield players, is that their job to get across and cover
it is
Coleman?
McCarthy's job, though, isn't it?
Or is it Stones' job and then they come in here?
Well, what I was looking at is I'm seeing my centre half come out to an area where me holding midfielders running. McCarthy's almost.
If McCarthy's in there,
he's there.
John Stones should see that and say, right, he's got it and I can hold.
Because me and you have gone out to him, and effectively then there's a big gap here, and that's what he's put. To be fair, the delivery was fantastic.
Great ball and a good run.
Yeah.
But as soon as Stonesy goes, Jag has to go, and Galloway has to see the run and come in and cover it. And that's what never happened really for me.
And no one tracked the run either.
Yeah, the run was great
that
run.
was the other thing.
Gareth Barry's treading water.
But then we started slow. We sat off them. They picked us off brilliantly, and the 2-0 up. And then I'm looking, going right. Okay, this isn't working now. The formation, the shape's wrong. These have got us down to it. They're under no pressure. Lukaku again is just on his own with 3 defenders, making our combined team look ridiculous.
It was almost set up like we were playing away. You got Lennon, who I think is like a defensive winger rather than an attacking winger. If that makes sense. He doesn't really beat him with flair, does he? He beats him with pace, and everyone's got pace now. And on the other side, you've got... No, I did. But what I mean is he's not making them think. I think Delafeu makes people think.
Yeah, I think what I thought Lennon done well was he got back and was putting tackles in. His
There
best
you
work was
defensive winger.
But I said last week I wanted Morales to start on the left, and he doesn't deserve to play,
No,
right? Because he's a beaut for what he done at Swansea, right? But he's still a player who, as a fullback, you're thinking, if he's got talent, this kid, and he can run. And Kevin Morales does get back, and he does help out defensively. But when we break, he gives us different options. Naismith's never going to take the
That's
ball.
what I'm saying. We have two defence. We've got Naismith on one side, we've got Lennon on the other, and they're not. Martial was never ever going to chase Naismith down. Or why would you?
Match of the day highlighted one. Look at what he done. Martial ran back once, and he done that all day, didn't he? He didn't have to do it, did he? Because he's got. Whereas Delafeu, for as frustrating as he is, he makes people think. He makes people worry. He has to do one good thing all game, but he'll do it well. I don't see that with Naismith or Lennon on fourth. But look, he set up his team, and he's thought, right, this will get it. Yeah. But at half time, you're 2-0 down. You've not really been in the game, and you're thinking, what does he do now? How's he going to change it? He's obviously going to tinker now with the system. This is on a day when our greatest ever manager has passed away. A man who would change it four times in a game and just alter it. He could see it and go, right, we'll do. And I've seen Everton in the 80s change 3, 4, 5 times in a game, win the game, you go, what a manager.
Didn't you see Howard play?
Did you see it? I never saw it.
I saw Howard play as well, yeah. You know, and seeing that 4 and 5 times, and then was sat at half time thinking, right, he'll mix this now. And he puts Aruna Kone on. Now that's great. Let's go 4-4-2 and put Aruna right alongside Lukaku and say, right, we're going at you. No, puts him on the left side. So essentially, we've come off with a system that hasn't worked to keep the same system. And then a bit later on, he takes Lennon off and puts Delafeu on into Lennon's position. So nothing actually changed. And the only reason we got up a little bit of a head of steam was we just done what you said before. We just went forward quicker. We got it, launched it up to Lukaku. He started winning battles against Smalling, and we were picking the bits up. And that was, but to them, all right, De Gea makes a couple of good saves. But did you ever?
No, because they were 2-0 up, man.
They were
just
a bit like this with us.
They were 2-0 up. They just had to defend for 50. That's classic, isn't it? At any level, if you're winning, they'll come out first 15 minutes. Every level that happens. They got through. They got a couple of good saves, but and then they went down to the end.
I think that the important bit of the second half was probably the first 10 minutes of the second half starting. Yeah. If you come out at 2-0 down, you come out second half and you get at them, and you get the crowd behind you, and they sense it. You've got a great chance, but it didn't happen. No.
There was only the Lukaku one that he saves with Lukaku. If that goes in. Yeah.
I think sometimes he needs someone alongside him.
Yeah, he does.
He's not a Graham Sharp. He's never going to hold the ball up and bring it down and link players in. He needs to be able to use his strength, which is his power and his pace. Yeah. His fair touch isn't great, but if you've got someone alongside him, he can help the ball on. Yeah. And Coney might get onto
But he also needs players around him to open space up for him, create channels.
But he makes runs, expecting the ball, and he doesn't come. Yeah. And then he jogs and ambles back, and then gets caught offside. He'll be go, lazy so-and-so. Yeah. But it's because he's making runs and he's not getting the ball. Yeah. But sometimes as a 4-4-2, you surprise people. It's the old-fashioned formation, surprise people and go 4-4-2, put 2 up there. I've watched Delafeu at West Brom. Great balls in. Yeah. One touch whip. That's it, How often do you see that in a game now? You don't see it. And that's the ball that's so hard to defend against. I'm speaking from experience. Yeah. Down, whip it in. Hard to get.
That's how we got the goal against Liverpool.
Yeah. It's hard to defend those. And sometimes we look at the opposition, we go, oh no, you can't do this, he's got to hold back a bit. No. Play on the front foot.
We're just too cautious. And I wouldn't think that of Roberto Martinez. We're too cautious every game. Man City, we were cautious. Liverpool, cautious. And now Man United, cautious. And we haven't won any of those games. Chelsea, we come out from the start and go, we'll do these today. All right, we got lucky with the message going off. Maybe that's where the luck came from. But we went at them then. We were forced to go at them because of the team we had on the pitch. But maybe that first 10 minutes against Chelsea, probably thought, we'll do these today. Because if I maybe change things.
I just think you can be cautious in some games, particularly away from home. You want to try and protect yourself. But I think at Goodison we shouldn't be doing it. And I like to see my teams with balance, and we haven't got any balance. I don't. And we've said it a million times, and we're not. People keep saying Pienaar's finished. Yeah, he probably is now. But what we're saying is, since he's gone out the side, that left hand side, we had Baines and Pienaar for years, and Moyes had. Whatever you say about David Moyes, he had the balance perfect. He had 4 4 across the middle, and he had Cahill as a split striker and your centre forward. And the only thing that undone Moyes really was he didn't have Lukaku. If he would have had Lukaku with the 2 wide plays that he ended up with Pienaar and Morales, he'd have done well. And I just think in games like Saturday, he could have gone, we're 2-0 down, this game's gone. Yeah. Why have I still got Gareth Barry, James McCarthy and Ross Bark? Ross done nothing. So he should have dragged Gareth Barry off and gone, them 2 can do the midfield. McCarthy will do your legs for you, because he doesn't offer anything in the final third. He may as well do that. Ross can play a little bit deeper. I'm going to stick someone up alongside Rom, and we're going to make these, like you said, go, these have changed their tactics. Now we need to readjust this. But we didn't. We just left
2-0 in football's not... we've seen it plenty of times.
2-0, the next goal is the most important. Exactly. If Everton get it, it's 2-1, they're back in the game. If United get it, it's dead and buried. Yeah. And you say, sometimes a little change, a little bit more directness, a little more purpose, a bit of frighten people. Yeah. The best teams frighten people by what they do with the ball at times.
But you've just said there, and it's absolutely spot on. I've banged on about it for ages. Get someone up with Lukaku. Yeah. Get someone up so that he's never going to... The other end, they had Wayne Rooney, people go, he's finished. What everything stuck to was it. He'd come in, he'd kill it, laid it off. He didn't have a fantastic game, but he brought other people.
I thought he did have a good, really.
No, he was good, but he was
how many times did he outrun Jagiel?
Forget about Jag. He just had a mare thing. But everything stuck to him. He'd come in, he killed, he laid it off. Ron doesn't do that for us. He battles great, and he'll run and sprint, and he'll get you goals. Give someone alongside to help with the work rate.
But what Ron doesn't have, he doesn't have a midfielder who run past him. And I say this every week. He had a run past Rooney for the goal a few times. We don't have anyone who runs past him. Ross Barkley surely should be running past him.
Well, Ross is the one we're looking at as the new Everton lad, the saviour, in one word. He should be doing more. When Ross came on the scene 4 years ago, breath of fresh air to me. Instinctive, did things, saw things, got on with it. But over the last 18 months, 2 years, I think he's becoming too negative in his play.
Or is that from the manager?
It's got to come from the manager.
I
remember the goal against Newcastle the other year. What a rough thing. But now, he wouldn't do that now. No. He'd look for the pass or take an extra touch.
I blame Hodgson.
And I think he's taking too many touches on the ball at the moment. He's not getting the ball out of his feet and seeing it quickly. Yeah. He's taking too many touches, and that's slowing his whole game down. Ross is an instinctive player. He plays on the seat of his pants, I want to say the phrase. He wants to go for it. And he's got to get away from being told, do this. No, Ross, just go and play. Be yourself, Ross. Go and play. Go and express yourself. And I think Ross is losing a little bit of that. He could be the one that could revive it by being pushed a little bit higher up. Yeah. You can't play alongside Lukaku. But if you are going to bring maybe Kone in, have the 2 and get Ross as more of a free role. Have one holding midfield player. Ross up and down. Ross got the energy to go up and down all day long. Yeah, of course. He's got bags of energy.
He's had a really good season, I think. But
the last couple of
games, I still think he's just not. We just don't have a player in the Tim Cahill mode who just wants to get in the box. How many times you see the ball get flashed across the box? And if Rom's not there's nobody there.
That's what I'm saying.
That's got to be down to the tactics of the coaching staff and the manager, how they set them up for the game.
But if you're going to play, if he wants to stick with one centre forward, that's what he's going to play. His 2 players flanking Lukaku have got to be runners.
They've got to come in as well. They've got to come in a bit as well.
Yeah. You've got to be pacey to make sure you're getting in. If he's going near post, you should be coming in round the back. The amount of times it goes across the box, everyone gets attracted to the ball. Well, and if you're running back...
Again, how many times in your day did Trevor Stephen get a tap in, or Kevin Sheedy get a tap in, ball goes over, and that was always the last thing. What I got told when I was a kid, you always attack if you're a winger.
His first season, how many balls did Coleman put in and Baines went into it?
Yeah, all the other way around.
First season, they were pushed. They were these are wingers now. Yeah. Well, how much did you see them go forward as much now?
And Barry dropped in at left back.
The first season, Baines and Coleman were magnificent under Martinez. Yeah. Forward, balls in, goals. Last 2 seasons, they've been held back a bit more. They've been forced to play more defensively.
It's frustrating because that was a big part of
I'm not quite sure Roberto Martinez knows what he wants at the moment. I don't think he knows what his best 11 is. He doesn't know how they want to play. I mean, he's got this formation. I'm not even sure this formation works anymore. I'm not sure whether we need Barry and McCarthy in there.
All the time. I don't think we do. I think, like Derek said, that we've alluded to it as well when Matt's been here, is that Ross has got that energy. Years ago, Ross Barkley would have just been in midfield alongside a Peter Reid type player who would have been a bit more experienced, winning tackles, and he'd have just gone up and down all day. You'd have had 2 wide players. Yes, the game moves on, but it's just because a lot of teams play one centre forward, it doesn't mean everybody has to play it. So you can. I know some managers try and get round it by playing 3 at the back and 5 midfielders because they want the insurance. But I tell you what, if you've got 2 centre forwards, you've got a handful for people. Doesn't matter.
And I know a lot of people probably think we're being negative there, but we've played 5 games at home and I've took 5 points, and that can't be good enough, surely, can it? If you want to finish European places, top 4 even, you know,
you make your home ground a fortress. We did it in the 80s. People didn't like coming to Goodison Park because it was an intense atmosphere, and we battled and we scrapped, and we won 90% of our home games because we made it into a fortress. It's not like football like that anymore. There's not many fortresses in football anymore. No. Now even teams can go to City and Chelsea and win games now. Yeah. The fortress element's gone because the way they're all trying to play this expansive football. Yeah. But I just think get back to doing what's best. Get the fans behind you, get the crowd with you, get singing, get chatting, get some tackles in, get the crowds raid, get some goals. Because goals win games.
Yeah. What you do is a home game. The home, you think you're sitting there as a fan. I always think of Everton. Get a shot in within the first minute or so. Get the crowd off the feet, because then that transcends. But when you too often with us, it's slow, and so you get you're sitting there and bored. I'm sat there going, this is so boring, and you know,
it's like the show.
That's what it's like.
Cheese steaks. Not going to touch the third goal. Jack Yelker's awful, and Tim Howard has a lie down.
Jack makes a mistake, like a shocking pass, but that ball's 10 yards inside their half.
Yeah. And
it travels bang, 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 and then our goalie goes for a lay down and opens the whole goal up for Rooney to put it in. You know, and other people have got to say, right, okay, yeah, he gave the ball away, but where was my reaction? Yeah. Who am I reacting to? Am I watching Wayne Rooney? Because he's the most dangerous player in that move. Then he's the one who's going to be running on. And
it was awful. Let's forget about it. Leave your comments below. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up. Big thanks for Doug's being on the show. Don't forget to subscribe up there as well. We'll see you again on Toffee TV.